The character of Ash in Evil Dead is so beloved that he has appeared in multiple comic book series and other canonical fandom universes. Because of his many crossovers and because of Disney's overlordship of our culture, we may someday see Ash join up with Spider-Man, Thor, all the other Avengers, Goofy, and the Final Fantasy universe as they fight against Dracula, Freddy, and Jason, the band Kiss, Krampus, and Adolf Hitler. Join me in petitioning the Disney Dominion to put all other projects on hold until this is achieved. We watched Evil Dead 2 and Spider-Man 3.
The French champagne.
Can you tell me which members of the Reservoir Dogs you two are currently dressed as?
I'm Mr. Pink.
Sis Blue.
So Miranda hasn't seen Reservoir Dogs.
Secret Nazis.
Yeah.
Secret Nazis.
Classic Spielberg.
Classic Spielberg.
He needs to kill 94 different 65-year-old men over 2.5 years because those men's children are all identical clones of Adolf Hitler.
There's like a bunch of other shit that happens in Driven.
Is there?
Shake it! Shake it!
The schlocky movie from this week may be the schlockiest film we've ever seen on this podcast.
The Citizen Kane of the week is... First question off the bat. So does Disney own Hitler? Is that?
No, but there's an Evil Dead comic where Ash fights Hitler.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is there really?
I think so.
That sounds incredible.
I saw a title that involved Hitler, so I was like, cool.
Doesn't that kind of go against founder Walt Disney's rather pro-Hitler stance, though?
I guess. He's dead. He's a head in the jar right now.
Right. I want the head in the jar. I want Ash.
I want Hitler's body with Walt Disney's head in a jar on top.
I want Ash to befriend Walt Disney's severed glass jar head.
Okay.
And he has to fight Hitler, but Walt Disney's always trying to like warn Hitler. He's like, he got away again.
He's always calling Hitler.
Who knows
and warning
why?
him. Yeah.
Like calling it and trying to like obstruct Ash. He's like rolling into his feet and tripping him.
Yep.
He's like, I almost had him. He's like, oh, we'll get him next time. That's what Walt Disney sounds like to me. Oh no, I don't know.
Like Dracula?
He's like, but like he's like a bit Dracula and a bit like, oh, who knows next time? Like we'll find out.
Yep. I think you nailed it. You got him.
So yeah. Hi, welcome. Welcome to Citizen Kane Versus. This is a podcast where we compare two movies. One of them more of a classic, the other more of a piece of schlock. And we ask ourselves, honestly, down to our deep, deep core, which one is better? My name is Jack Rennie, and I'm joined by my two friends, one.
Sean Jacqueline.
And the other.
Daniel Benoit.
Back to the classic.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And this week, we have a really great pairing that I can only describe as Sam Raimi sequels. I believe is the actual theme of this episode, which is great. I love that, and it's sort of in conjunction. We did a little guest spot on the Jacked Up Review Show podcast.
That's the one.
This week, who knows when the episode will come out? We did a Sam Raimi episode with them. And yeah, Sean and I are on that. So if you're feeling like, I just need even more podcast than this podcast, you could try checking out them because they were nice people.
But we're the only film review podcast, so I don't know why you would look for any other one, to be honest.
Yeah. Don't abandon us, and we don't appreciate your wandering eye.
Yeah.
I guess wandering ear. But also, if you want to follow us more, you can check out Citizen Kane VS on at Citizen Kane VS on Twitter. That's a great place just to find out what stuff's going on. Sean's on there all the time, tweeting at Conrad Black to go die and stuff like that.
Today was making fun of the Ryerson Conservatives page, who have taken a very strong stance in the recent beheading of the stupid statue.
Because they beheaded the statue, right?
They behead. Well, yeah.
What,
and then
what
they got
statue
angry.
did they behead?
Ryerson.
Ryerson. Yeah.
Like at Ryerson campus.
And anyways, it's very funny. Their page is hot trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like straight out of a Simpsons episode. where a statue was beheaded,
Yeah.
but it's more meaningful.
Yeah.
So I think we should jump in though, and I think everyone at home is dying to know. We're teasing Sam Raimi. They're like, what is it? What are the movies? So Dan, can you bring us in?
Yep.
Big energy just for this.
Okay, here we go. In the red corner, representing the classic. It's a story as old as time. A man breaks into a cabin in the woods to impress his girlfriend and accidentally summons some evil spirits that kill everyone around him. Then, the man defeats the demons, only to be sent back in time to battle them again in the Middle Ages. Coming in at 84 minutes, starring Bruce Campbell, Evil Dead 2. And in the blue corner, representing the schlock. It's your friendly neighborhood Spiderman, who is forced to navigate love, friendship, and his massive ego, while simultaneously saving the world from evil extraterrestrial goop and a man made of sand, all with enough time to squeeze in a sweet dance break. Coming in at 139 minutes, starring Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst, Spider-Man 3.
Oop. Sandman. I don't know.
Oh yeah, he's in that film too.
What isn't in this movie? Spider-Man 3 is a movie. It's one of few movies where I remember seeing it. I think it came out when I was like somewhere in high
You're
school.
like 17 when I saw it.
Yeah, and I saw it with like a group of friends. You know, when you and your friends would go to a movie in high school, like 9 to 10, and you would pack into your minivan, and you'd shuttle on down to the local cinema. But that's a movie where when it got to like, Dan, you know what, you remember.
You and I had very different high school experiences, my friend.
You know, when 10 to 20 of your closest friends from high school pack into the local Volkswagen.
A single minivan.
A single minivan.
Yeah, and you shuttle down. You shuttle down to the Cineplex Odeon, okay? So anyway, but it's a movie where when it got to like the dance break part of it, and the movie is really, really spiraling in a kind of, watching it now, I'll say a rather interesting way, but it's like, it's weird. I remember turning sideways to look away from the screen and leaning into my chair to look at the person next to me who had already done the same and was facing towards me. And then we had a very quiet conversation about how this movie is weird. That's never happened with any other movie. And I've seen a number of movies.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And I'd never seen Evil Dead 2 before this, so it was very exciting.
Yeah, I'm so curious to know or to hear what you guys thought about Evil Dead 2, because it's a cult classic. On a rewatch, I'm realizing that like maybe Evil Dead 1 might have been a better choice because it's like more story heavy than Evil Dead 2.
I don't sell yourself short. These were good comparisons.
Okay,
fine.
all right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then why don't we get into story, and you guys can give me your thoughts on Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
All right. Well, geez, eager beaver over here. All right. Beginning then with round 1, story. Did you like it?
That's the one.
That's the one.
Did you like it?
Yeah. You can't see it because he's just Dan is pinching his nose in glee.
Yeah. In glee,
that made me very happy.
Yeah, like the bridge of his nose, you know, like where you feel glee up between your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you want to know?
Did I like it? Well, did you like it? Did you like? I mean, okay. So in terms of story, I would have to say that I think I might have enjoyed aspects of both these movies, like despite the story, if that makes sense.
I had a very good time watching these films. Both of them.
Even Spider-Man 3?
I had a pretty good time.
Wow, okay, all right.
It's better than I remember.
Yes.
Oh.
Absolutely.
See, for me, I remembered it being this like convoluted tornado of 15 movies crammed into one, but like fun and enough kind of, you know me, I like flashy, loud shit. I thought it was just like more of that. But on a rewatch last night, I found it to be so disjointed. I thought it was such a bland mess.
There's a real problem in Act 2, at the end of Act 2, when he is fully venomed and becomes emo Peter Parker. That whole section can be done away with, and then you're left with a movie that I think is pretty watchable and does the whole franchise to that point some service.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like you could have done away with the Venom character entirely. Yeah. If the whole thing had just been had been Sandman, like Spider-Man versus the Junior Goblin, and then a side of Sandman would have been like, okay. Maybe.
Aaron and I, in watching it, we were like, when he throws the bomb at Harry Osborn, that Harry's thrown at him, and he catches it with the web, and he whips it back at Harry, and it should have killed Harry. We were like, oh, Harry's dead. And we started plotting out a movie where like the Venom suit causes him to kill Harry, which drives his madness and drives him deeper and deeper into self-loathing and wanting to be with the Venom suit. And we're going, that's the movie where he accidentally murders his friend and he is addicted to this chemical alien space goo. And we just watch Spider-Man's descent into madness, and it's only, MJ and Aunt May that can pull him out at the end or something. But instead, we got the Sandman is 500 feet tall and punches blocks of cement and stuff.
Yeah.
And Eric Foreman is the new Venom.
Right.
Foreman. Yeah. It's so weird. But here's the thing about the dance break. All right, the extended dance break in Spider-Man 3. What is it that you earlier today you're describing the 5 part story structure and the long dark descent of the soul?
The long dark night of the soul. Yeah.
The long dark night of the soul. So here in this movie, in the hero's journey, at his lowest point in his long dark night of the soul, it involves a dance, and it involves him obstructing a jazz club. And putting on some eyeliner, and
then what other movie has his ex-girlfriend?
Yeah. I mean, also trying to kill his. He definitely thought he was murdering his friend when he threw that bomb in his face.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it has a special quality, not dissimilar to the same way that Evil Dead 2 has a special quality, where it's what other movie am I gonna see this in?
Yes.
And there is something special about it. As long as you know that Spider-Man 3 isn't meant to be watched like one of the Batman movies with Christian Bale, which is very serious, that it's meant to be watched with a chuckle in your heart.
Yeah.
And that's probably in your pants.
We watched that's the extra $20 you pay for the sand experience at the movie theater.
They had a special you could get sand on your popcorn during when this movie was in theaters.
Yeah, and there's a lot of sand on the ground, so everything is just even more gritty.
Yeah.
We watched Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2. I wanted to do a lot of research for that other podcast, so I went on a Sam Raimi blitz. Watched all the Evil Deads, watched all the Spider-Mans, watched a couple other of the films he's made. And immediately, if you watch all 3 Spider-Man films in chronological order, it's not a bad movie to end his trilogy on. And I think it was largely detested when it came out because Batman Begins came out 2 years earlier. And suddenly there was a shift in what we want superheroes to be.
Well, there you go.
And how far removed from Spider-Man 2 was Spider-Man 3? How many years was it?
I think Spider-Man 2 was 2004. So
and this was 2007.
And this is 2007. So we had Spider-Man 2 came out and was beloved, and it's just as cartoony as Spider-Man 3 is. And then Batman Begins comes out in 2005 or 6, one of those years, and then we get Spider-Man 3.
Suddenly we want gritty, grounded superhero films, and here comes Sam Raimi with his fucking dance breaks. And
we were still on the rebound from the Joel Schumacher nippled Batman films.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Right.
that was the improvement. That's where people were going on, this is so much better than
Yeah.
Nipple Batman. But say what you will, I gotta say this: the moment that Tobey Maguire goes on his villainous dance rampage, and he goes in and he gets a new black suit, and then he comes out and he gives us one clap, and then just starts grinding out and pumping dance moves into the air and like thrusting his hips. It's fucking hysterical. It's super funny. So I kind of loved it. Like,
and it's the lowest point his character. Well, that's when he's like still loving the high of wearing the suit, I guess, right?
That's like that's like when he's freshly fallen in love with the suit.
Right.
Because what happens? Something happens. That's after he he thinks he's killed James Franco. Right?
Maybe.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think that's
decided.
the tipping point.
Yeah.
So he's like fully given over to the suit and embracing his dark side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's like smashing people up against walls and telling people to go shove it.
And like finger gunning girls in the street
who are into it.
So many finger guns. See, I wasn't sure if they were into it because some of them looked really into it, and then some of them looked like they were disgusted.
Well, they're
kind of
into
sure.
It. There's two shots. There's one where they're responding like they're into it when it's early in the parasite, and then when he's gone fully, then they start looking at him like, ugh, this guy's.
But there was two shots back to back. It goes from his POV where the girls walking towards him are like, ew, what? And then it cuts straight to like a shot of him where the girls he's walking past are like, ooh. So I wasn't sure.
Right.
It is very confusing.
It is very confusing. Like, is he supposed to be cool? Are we supposed to think that like he's exuding confidence, so suddenly he's this cool guy? Or he looks absurd but doesn't realize how stupid he looks because he's so enamored with this new persona?
Yeah. I think he's supposed to be what Peter Parker thinks is cool, but it's his charisma that is making people turn heads and be like, ooh.
And like just generally like standing out.
Yeah.
I guess. I will say in 2007, there's no way that a woman that looks like Gwen Stacy is going for a guy that has a haircut like that.
Oh, but he's
a
so
little
he's
fucking
so
front swoop.
Hot. I mean, she finds out his true insides at when he tries to make MJ feel bad by bringing her to the bar where she works.
She loves him. She loves him for his mind. Okay, Dan. She thinks he has a beautiful mind.
Like that film.
Right.
Yeah, Spaceballs.
Just like the film.
But then you have Evil Dead, where I know what you're saying, Dan. Like, I think I know what you're saying. Whoever said it about like in spite of the story, because Evil Dead, there's not even a story to be really in spite of. It's kind of, it's very thin on its story.
Premise.
Yeah, it's just like man in cabin releases evil spirits, man fights spirits.
Yeah, and Sean, you recently watched all of them, so remind me. But I remember, or correct me if I'm wrong. I remember the first one being more slowly paced, more of a kind of a slow burn, developing the actual characters of the film before that. Because this one, like as soon as they hit the cabin, it's fucking demon time.
Well, the first one is a horror film that is tongue in cheek for the first like half hour, 40 minutes. There's a lot of like I laughed quite a lot in the first half of just Evil Dead. Mm-hmm. And then it turns into a really, really imaginative horror film. I loved Evil Dead. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a stunning example of a director on a low budget making the best film possible.
That was like his thesis film, I think, also.
Yeah, I think he dropped out of school to make it.
Right.
So
right.
yeah. So the beginning of Evil Dead 2 with the girlfriend is really just him retconning and writing out, because there's another couple and his sister that go with him in Evil Dead in the first one to the cabin. Right. So it's just him retconning and getting rid of those characters so he doesn't have to explain like what happened to their bodies or the demons that they became, and he can just do Evil Dead 2, the movie he wants to make. Yeah.
So this is an interesting example of like a reboot sequel done by the same director with the same actors.
3 years later. Yeah.
3 years later, that is like both a continuation and like not really a reimagining, but like a reshoot with more money.
Yeah, it's just another one of those. What are you getting at?
Yeah.
And we're so used to those now. But like after 15 minutes, it's a completely new movie. Him like when the spirit goes through the house and then hits him in the head. That is the end of the first Evil Dead, is it going through and then possessing him. So all that stuff.
Is that how the first one ends?
That's how the first one
getting
ends.
possessed?
Yeah.
So
So it's only like 10-15 minutes of Evil Dead 2 that is like a reboot, you would say. And then after that, it's a completely different film.
Oh, I need to go back and rewatch Evil Dead 1, I think. Okay,
I would highly recommend it. It's very, very good.
Yeah. Okay, well then, that's your thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Jack, hit me with your experience with Evil Dead 2.
Look, I'll say what I said on the other podcast. I had a fucking great time.
Good.
I had a blast. And Miranda had a blast. We had a blast. The whole house here had a blast.
You'll blast.
And
Were
it
your
wasn't
plans
too...
like laughing along with the movie as it was happening? Doors
yeah,
were
just
flying
like
open
in the
and
movie.
closed?
In the part in the movie when everything in the house was laughing, everything in our house started laughing too. I shat myself. No, but we had a great time. It wasn't too scary for Miranda. Like, it had that great sweet spot where she was able to, because like me, she does not like the scary movie. So we were able just to have a great time and appreciate the craft work being done. Like, she was doing things and, oh, that's how they're doing. Oh my God. And then we were both seeing some stuff. We'll get into this later, but like just being like, I had no idea how they did that. Like, it's a spectacle. There's so much to take in. But yeah, it doesn't, if we're talking about story, it's not gonna change your life. The story of it, it's super basic. It's really just like Sean said, it's a premise just to get these things in motion.
Totally.
To play around so much, but to me, that's also like a really good use of story. Like,
yeah,
like it serves its purpose. I'd say pretty perfectly.
Absolutely. And I refer to him as a why not director, in that he has like, oh, his hand is possessed and he has to chainsaw it off. Why not? Like, why can't that happen? There's just a series of things I would never think of to do. I don't think most directors would ever think of doing the sequences that Sam Raimi puts in his films, because he just has this like, well, why wouldn't we do that? Like, why can't we do that? Let's do it. And Evil Dead 2 is pretty much a why not movie. Why not have all these events happen?
Yeah, it kind of just like smacks of a director who's just doing whatever he wants and whatever he thinks is going to be like fun and amusing, right? Which is awesome. And like obviously there's stage of that in Spider-Man 3 as well, or else we wouldn't have Disco Tobey.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, so for me the comparison really is like no story versus far too much story.
Correct.
This week, I think.
Correct.
Yeah. Because you're right. I think Spider-Man 3 would have been really fun. I guess you guys enjoyed it. I would have had a lot more fun if it had been like 45 minutes shorter.
Yes.
It feels like Sam
movie,
Raimi is going for like an epic feel, like an epic conclusion to the trilogy.
Well, there's supposed to be a fourth, but because it was so poorly received, the producers meddled a bunch in the editing as well. The studio did.
Right.
So they had a falling out with him in that process, and then Spider-Man 3 was received so poorly that they just nixed. I think they were going to have John Malkovich be the Vulture. Yeah.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
I'm
Spider-Man.
here for the Spider-Man.
He's a Spider-Man. That's kind of, I think it's my best impromptu John Malkovich.
Yeah, that's good.
That was good.
Malkovich?
Do you have a Malkovich? I like it. Maybe. I don't know. Let's dig deep. Yeah, I agree. Like, there's kind of there could be a good movie that's about him. It's the end of the trilogy. You conclude the Harry Osborn thing with Sandman, who I didn't mind Sandman. I thought the actor was kind of good.
Yeah. Hayden Church.
you know, like doing a good job. I like his look and everything. Like I find him good, and the fact that he was like an early sympathetic villain. You know what I mean? Like he never wanted to be in crime.
He's got a sick daughter.
And the healthcare is broken in the United States.
Everything he does is fine because his daughter is sick.
Look, his friend bumped him while he was pointing a gun at a man, and he shot him because he was also
his daughter's sick.
Yeah, that's totally not his fault, except for the part where he held the gun at a man's chest with like a hair trigger.
Uncle Ben.
Oh, Uncle Ben, dying in every movie.
Oh, in every movie, yeah. I think they do replay it in the second one.
Spray. Wait, does he have pearls on? He has pearls on, right?
Yeah, they're at Uncle Ben is at the opera.
Yeah,
and also on a faraway planet, and his name is Jor-El.
Yeah, correct. So anyway, I agree, Dan. It is a bit of a too much story versus not enough story. That is a good way to put it. I commend you on that summary. That is
thank you.
So I guess early
Citizen Kane of the week is Daniel Benoit.
Oh my God!
Mainly his comment. That one.
I'd like to thank God, and also Satan.
Oh,
Satan.
yes.
I'd like to thank Satan more so.
Okay.
And Sam Raimi.
That's a good trio.
Some people's God.
The Holy Trinity, you might say. I could have done without all the fucking love story padding in this film.
Yeah,
like
Spider-Man?
In Spider-Man, they spend
it's weird.
So like they don't even get to the symbiote infecting Spider-Man until like an hour into the movie.
Yeah, and then
hour
Venom's like at the end.
Yeah,
like an entire
Carnage,
movie
I think,
has
at the end too.
No, it's what? No, it's Venom.
Like it's the Venom suit, but I think at the end when it just is the suit, that's Carnage. It's like evolved form.
Oh, like when it's separated at the very end there.
So technically, there are 4 villains in this film.
Right.
Is that how Carnage comes about in the comics? Is he just an evolved version of Venom?
Yeah.
Or are they just trying to throw in a little Easter egg?
I'm sure they wanted to have another Carnage fight, but at that point it was 2 hours and 40 minutes into the film. And
see, I would have loved that fucking movie. Take out Sandman, take out fucking the shit with Osborn, and just have it be all about Venom and Carnage. Because I think at one point in the comics, Venom has to turn into a good guy and like team up with Spider-Man to fight Carnage, right?
I don't
Sounds
know.
like a comic book storyline.
Totally. Anyways, they're doing that now. The next Venom movie has Carnage in it. I'm pretty stoked.
I'll tell you what I want, which is that I want the Sam Raimi version of the Spider-Man storyline that I remember from watching cartoons when I was a kid. Which
one
is
with
the
that
storyline
Aerosmith does the theme song for. That one?
What?
That was Aerosmith?
Yeah, man.
Isn't that also X-Men that you just...
Oh, that was X-Men. Okay. Well, they all sound the same. That was X-Men. But I think the Spider-Man one is almost identical.
No, you just shut up and you let me finish my point. All right? So, no, the storyline... wrong intro. No. No, the storyline where Spider-Man gets like his powers become like too advanced and he starts turning into a spider and he like grows extra arms and starts to look like a spider. I wanted to see Sam Raimi's version of that because I think it'd be very funny as he tries to navigate his life still. And then that's the relationship issue is that Mary Jane's like, I haven't seen you in a while. And he's like...
And he's hiding 5 arms behind his back.
Yeah. And Harry Osborn does forget that it's Spider-Man, but then remembers him because it's like, you are literally a spider. So I remember that you're Spider-Man. I don't know. I think that'd be a silly movie. This movie, it also kind of wanted to be serious. That's the tricky thing. It wanted to have its cake and eat it too a little bit. And I would have liked it to just been a silly romp.
That's why the fucking dance break sequence is so confusing because it like deviates from it's a complete tonal shift for like 5 minutes.
Like my daughter is dying, and then to like do a little dance,
yeah,
make a little love.
Yeah.
It's just like, wait, come on. Come on, Sam
The
Raimi.
emo hair.
The emo hair is why?
The
Why?
Sam Raimi seems to really like to torture his protagonists, and like Peter Parker's a pretty tortured soul, just like constantly bad shit happens to him. That's kind of comic book. But Evil Dead, Ash does not get a moment to think from about 20 minutes into the first film to the end of Army of Darkness. And Evil Dead 2 is just an onslaught starting from like having to chainsaw his girlfriend's head into
He's with a shovel, actually. He
Right.
decapitates her with a shovel.
Yeah, but then he chainsaws her head into. He puts her head in the vice grip, and then
Right.
Yeah.
Well, her body is holding the chainsaw, and he knocks her body holding the chainsaw back into itself.
Yes. Oh, what a sequence! What a sequence!
Yeah.
Why not? Why not do that? You know, fucking brilliant.
Okay, keep it in your
I'm so
pants.
glad you guys. I'm so glad you guys enjoy these movies. Yeah, and I actually think that's, like, to your point, it's pretty awesome to see Ash's like quick descent into madness because there is no moment of respite, right? Like it's just fucking constant, and it doesn't take very long for him to start like rapidly losing his mind.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Which is
so
really
you can his absurd over the top behavior is totally forgivable because he just had to chainsaw his girlfriend's head using her body.
Yeah.
Like I love it.
I mean, wouldn't you?
I'd go insane immediately. Yeah.
And he does. He goes insane pretty quickly. It
Yeah.
tracks. Like
Yeah.
anyway, we'll get into some of that performance stuff, but I love how relentless it is.
Yeah.
And
he's always getting goop in his mouth. There
Yes,
is a constant stream of goop going in Ash's mouth.
He probably swallowed so much paint during the filming of that movie.
This is edible, right, Sam? Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Let's take it again. Sam?
Sam? Lead-based
Sam, edible,
paint.
right? All right, first positions. Okay.
Inflammable means flammable?
You better put me in all your movies after this, I swear to God.
And he does.
And he does. Well, shall we carry on?
Mm-hmm.
Certainly.
Let's do it. So it's like end of round. I can, and that's not where we put it. And then going into our second round, which is looks. Did you like them?
I was weaker that time. I'm less in favor.
Oh fuck! Well, I'll bring some more pizzazz.
I vote to continue workshopping the round intros.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah. We're
Fine.
relentless.
Relentlessly.
Looks.
So I think I want to start with Evil Dead 2 because looks is where this movie is like a champion. Like this movie is incredible in what it's doing. It has a mix of practical effects that you can kind of see what they're doing in a fun way, and it's very enjoyable. And then they do practical effects that you're like, how did you do that? I still have no idea because no one else does that. So what is that and how did you do it? And then there are special effects that are like, that's very silly. Thank you. And special effects where I'm like, what is that? And how did you do that? Like, it's just.
Yeah.
It looks different every 5 minutes.
Yes. So the stuff that you can see happening, I'm assuming you're talking about like all the stuff with his own hand or the prosthetic hand, or when he's like smashing her head, that like her head is clamped onto his hand.
Yeah.
And he's having like
so
like the
funny.
doll head fight.
Like that kind of stuff, or when like the zombie mom is like just hanging from the ceiling, spinning around. That you're like, that's funny. Well done.
Who is played by Sam Raimi's brother, by the way.
Really? That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah,
Very good.
zombie Henrietta, I think was her name.
Yeah.
So what are some of the effects that stumped you? What's some of the stuff that happened in the movie that you couldn't figure out?
Some of the stuff that like they did with a lot of the vine and tree stuff is like, I was like, whoa, like you're doing I think you're playing some stuff in reverse, but even still you combined it with, I think, some special effects as well. to make something that really looks like what is happening. And
The vine scene in the original is disturbing because I don't know if it would be shot today. I'm honestly not sure. I don't really know where horror is in its wokeness level or whatever, but the forest rapes a woman. Yeah.
Oh, I think I remember that. Yeah.
And it's pretty graphic, and it is just as effective because I think he's speeding up and slowing down and like filming in reverse and stuff like that. So it looks like it, and it's very physically real.
yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. So that's
not
where
in
the
this movie. Yeah.
Um,
And then even just like the stuff of like the camera flying forward through the forest early on and stuff like that.
I love that so much. I think that is one of the most like iconic and effective conventions in horror cinema, like history.
So
go ahead.
Someone on the other podcast mentioned that it was him on his motorcycle, at least in the first movie. Strap the camera to the front and just drive forward.
Yeah, probably.
But
I mean, it
Speed that up.
But it would have to be something that. Go ahead, Jack.
So I think you're thinking of the camera just coming forward and being the demon.
Yeah.
But I'm also talking about there's a shot where I think Bruce Campbell is thrown like a kilometer through the forest.
Oh yeah.
And it's like from his perspective, and it's just the camera like flying through the trees at super fast speeds until it hits a tree.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't look like other stuff. Like I was like, what is going on? It's really cool.
Yeah. And then when it goes through the house too, chasing him through the house, through each room, that can't be the motorcycle because you can't make those like sharp turns.
No, that's the one. That's the one where it's someone is just holding it, and you can see sometimes a hand in the corner of the frame pushing a door open.
Yeah.
Which is very funny.
Oh, I love it.
So yeah, I mean that's the best I could say. Also the practical effects of like clearly just having like a hole in a wall that sprays goo out of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That you're like, very
What
good.
else do you need?
Well, very good.
I think I will say, watching the first movie and then watching Evil Dead 2, given the comparative budgets and production time and crews, I was more impressed with the first film and was kind of felt like, oh, he's getting a little more mainstream in his look in Evil Dead 2 than where he was in Evil Dead. It was less unique, I think, but it might also be because I'd watched his first film. But so I think I was negatively affected a little bit like that, but it's still like this film is insane.
I mean, that's probably true. Did he have studio funding for Evil Dead 2?
For 2, I think he did. Yes.
Okay, so then that would make sense that there'd have to be some kind of mainstream influence, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I think you're right. I don't remember Evil Dead very clearly, but I do remember, just from a visual standpoint, the two not being drastically different. Like the production value in Evil Dead 2 not being substantially higher than the first one.
No, you can sort of see makeup lines in the first film, but you forgive it because the makeup that they're showing is amazing. So you're like, okay, I don't mind. I can tell that this is a film because that's also his thing, right? He wants you to know that you're watching a fucking movie. So he doesn't mind that. He doesn't mind a hand opening a door, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good at like self-aware horror camp, which makes
genre. Yeah,
which is genre. Like, because there were parts of the movie where I was like, oh, this looks so fucking cheap, but then he'll do something like the camera through the forest, or even just like the makeup on Ash when he first gets possessed is so good with the sunken cheeks and or that shot of like when he gets unpossessed and the cloud, like the fogginess clearing out from his eye.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you're forgiven, Sam. You're done good. Yeah, exactly. And then I bow down on my knees and pray at
the altar of Raimi. Yeah.
Well, just to edge out our Sam Raimi gasms a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's shift over to Spiderman. The third, I believe it's called Spiderman the Third.
The third.
Because this movie also shouldn't be poo-pooed for visually,
No.
especially a phrase that I don't often say in this podcast, but for the time, it has a lot of great stuff in it and a lot of really cool visual moments, and generally the design is good.
I don't know if I entirely agree with you. When did the Matrix movies come out?
99.
And then
Was the first.
the subsequent ones.
I completely forget.
Okay, but probably around probably a couple of years later, right? Like they would have been out
2 or 3 for the next one, and then probably 4 like the next year after for the third one. Yeah,
right. So they would have been out before
this for
Spider-Man.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then for the time, the special effects in this movie are like kind of shit. The CGI backgrounds are pretty bad.
I think you remember the Matrix sequels as having better graphics than they did.
I just watched them recently.
Okay.
Like I just watched. They're not
The Matrix 2 with
and 3 back to back,
where Rubber Neo fights rubber agents.
Yes, but you have the same quality of CGI people in this movie as well. And we're 4 or 5 years later.
Yes,
like,
when it suddenly is a person, you can notice it, and it's really flubbery and weird. Yeah, I'll agree.
Yeah. Like for me, I got the impression that Sam Raimi has like his cheap aesthetic, which works really well for his own unique movies, but he doesn't know how to handle like big budget special effects. Because the stuff that like that whole chase scene, the first time that Osborn shows up and chases him through like the city.
Yeah, and their faces are CG'd on the
It's so fucking rough. Yeah. It's so rough. And then the stuff where Venom, fucking Topher Grace's face like creeps out from behind the Venom stuff looks awful. Venom just generally looks terrible in this film.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it's fine for a superhero movie, but I feel like there was better tech available at the time, and also Sam Raimi was trying to make it look kind of cartoonish and campy, but didn't quite know how to blend it together well enough to also make it
it's hard when it's completely
pleasing.
Out of your control, right? Because he's not on the consoles operating the graphics program. He's not doing that himself. He's like behind the shoulder of someone, or telling some studio exec to what he wants, right? Yeah,
that's true.
I guess really what I'm thinking of, what I'm trying to give a shout out to in particular, is the Sandman stuff again.
Yeah, it was great.
The Sandman stuff is pretty good. That first scene where he first comes out from the sand after the accident, which I didn't understand at all. And shit was gorgeous.
You follow the single grain that you think is a giant rock as it slowly tumbles, and you keep pulling out. And it's great.
Yeah. And it's just a rotating camera with this epic operatic music playing underneath. It was pretty gorgeous.
It's dope. It's so cool. And all the way leading up to him, and they take their time with it, which is so amazing, of him learning to stand and realizing and finding the locket again in his sandy hand, and then realizing that he needs to stand up and walk because his daughter is sick, as he's saying.
My daughter's sick.
And he starts standing, and he's kind of clumping down in the sand, and then he finally gets it and he starts walking, and then the sand as he's walking shift and shakes off of him to reveal his image again. It's cool. Mm-hmm. It's very, very cool. It's a 12 out of 10 for me.
Daniel, can I just ask what you didn't get about a prisoner running from the law, breaking into an experimental nuclear particle physics facility and falling into a particle accelerator crevice and being thrown in together with sand and his molecules being sped up to such a point where they break apart and then reamalgamate with the matter that is around him? What part of that is confusing for you?
Is it the cop chase part?
I mean, when you put it like that, it makes perfect sense. I guess I just needed a bit more explanation. No, you know what it was, man? It was the fact that they don't explain at all what the experiment is. So I'm like, are they they experimenting on the sand? I'm not sure what exactly is supposed to be the subject of the experiment. And also, there is a trespasser on the premises that everyone knows about. And and there is now a foreign object in the testing site, and no one puts that together.
And all
No,
the
there's-
hot doctors.
Yeah, I was gonna say
hot,
Yeah.
hot doctors.
all the hot doctors, right? They do fix it, Dan. They clearly they're like, something's coming up on the scanners, some life form. And like, it's probably a bird. It'll fly away. So you need to
They
shut
do
up,
acknowledge it. That's true.
because
That's true.
the sexy doctors, the sexy scientists,
Let me
they
just take
told
my
us
foot
what's
out of
what.
my mouth
Okay,
here.
yeah.
Yeah, and also, like, was it that everything sped up to a speed where it all blended together? Because it kind of looked like they just shrunk sand down and it like fit in between his pores, and then pinged off one of his DNA strands.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to show CGI magic, what science magic looks like on a molecular level when sand blends with his life.
You know what?
Entity.
You know what was more effective? Spider-Man 1, Green Goblin enters a glass chamber, and that chamber fills with green gas. And then he exits as the Green Goblin. And I went, yeah, okay.
That happens in Spider-Man 3 too. They give they give what's his face, what's his nuts,
Franco?
James Franco. a
Oh,
moment
yeah, he
to,
comes out of the
derpy walk
yeah.
out of the chamber.
James Franco as a lead in a movie is a tough thing.
Yeah.
And he's done so many of them.
Yeah, eh? Who's
Yeah.
his aunt? Like, who's his uncle? Like,
I don't know.
When's he gonna host the Oscars again?
that's what we're all asking.
We're all waiting for him.
No, he's dead and gone in terms of Hollywood, I think.
Yeah.
But
'Cause he
you know,
likes to
there's
prey
no, I don't
on
think, no, he's still
women.
around. The
No,
Hollywood
man,
likes him.
he's like blacklisted now. He
Is
got
it?
Me Too'd. Yeah.
Well,
What?
bad man.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
I mean, we'll cover this in acting.
In acting.
Ooh.
I've prepared an entire "fuck James Franco" section to this podcast.
Oh dear.
I'll hashtag
right,
that
like-
when we release this.
You should.
Yeah.
Even Seth Rogen has been like, I am never working with James Franco
Really?
again. Oh yeah.
Oh, wow. That bad. Well, how have I not heard this? We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But fuck James Franco might
fuck
also
that guy.
send the wrong message to some people.
Oh, okay.
True.
Yeah.
True. Don't fuck
Maybe
James Franco.
Yeah, don't fuck James Franco might be the way to do it. Oh boy.
But yes. So to my point about the aesthetic of this film, which I know that we are on the aesthetic of this film. We are.
yeah, the looks.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Do you like
Did you,
him?
did you like it?
So
like
this is a prime example to me of a movie fucking jumping the shark when
Yeah.
when you try and cram too much story in that you can't really handle, so you can't give anything its due attention, and then things start to look cheap and fall apart. Spider-Man 1 has one very clear story, and it uses a lot of practical stuff. There's some CGI, but a lot of it is done practically.
Yeah.
And it looks great.
Yeah.
And then you have Spider-Man 3, which is like, I don't know. It's just
But
to me,
this
it's a mess.
movie, this is tricky because this movie, more than even other sequels than we see now, is really trying to be like episode 3. It really, if you haven't seen the other movies, this movie is dumb. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you don't know
Yes.
what the deal is with Harry Osborn. You don't know what the deal is with Mary Jane. Like, you just don't know anything. And this movie does really, and it even begins with a voiceover being like, so yeah, you know, here I am again. Welcome back to the third movie now. So hope you saw the other ones. Like, it really does.
They also
start
give
with
you
that, so
the entire recap montage during the 15-minute opening credit sequence.
yes,
Yeah,
they
the
do.
narration. He loves his narration. He loves his opening narration stuff.
No, but even before the narration, like in the credits, there's
Oh,
like
yeah.
there's like flashes in the webs of scenes from the previous movies, which is very funny too. It'd be like, this
Yeah.
remember? You remember this happened, right? Then Willem Dafoe died? Huh?
Yeah.
You remember? Okay.
that?
Okay, because we're moving on
It
now.
was 4 years ago.
Yeah. Remember you saw that when you were 8?
Yeah.
Right?
Now
Now
you're
you're
12. It's been brought up that the Spider-Man lands in front of the flowing American flag shot.
Oh,
It's in
Yeah.
it's in every single Spider-Man film. It's been brought up that this is Sam Raimi satirizing patriotism. I disagree. The first movie the trailer had to be edited because it pictured the Twin Towers in the trailers. And so they had to re-edit those
Right.
trailers to get them out of there when they no longer existed. So the first movie, that shot was put in after to be like, rah, rah, America, we great. And then it was kept. And that's a choice. And I don't think you can use it in one film and be like, America is great. And then 2 films later, use it to satirize yourself. Especially knowing that Sam Raimi's kind of a conservative dude. So, like...
But here's my question to you, Sean.
He is?
Why not?
I mean, there
Why
you go.
not, Sean?
It might be distasteful to many of the nations in the world that America is carpet bombing right now, but that's just me.
Yeah, but if
Well,
they
that
want their
got dark.
Spider-Man, they're going to take it.
Yeah. You fucking
Right.
want Spider-Man? You'll take this
Spider-Man?
missile.
If you want your Spider-Man, you're gonna take it.
Huh? You want an extended Marvel universe? Huh? You want shows too?
Yeah. Do you want
We're
Spider-Man?
dissolving your government. Not we. We don't.
Yeah.
I'm in character as America.
As America. As President America. How
Using
long
the
till the
royal-
Americans have a president named America?
Like America
Mr.
Ferrera
America?
runs for
No,
president.
like America. Like just some hillbilly
America-
from Louisiana.
Like, and the last name is like the Great.
The Great, yeah.
I
How
like
long?
it better if it's like a share situation where the person's name is just
America.
America.
Yeah, like 50 years at the latest. That's
What about-
my under.
Would you accept Murica?
America is an acceptable name.
Because
What if it was like the first female president and her name was Amy Ricka?
Then I think there are other problems too.
Amy Ricka. Is that the closest you can get to
I think so,
America?
with it being a real name.
Yeah.
Well, the M, short for Emily.
M. Ricka.
M.
Erica?
M. Erica. M. Erica.
She goes. Her name is Marisa. Let's say. Let's go with that name. Randomly.
Yeah, but she goes by M, and her middle
M.
name is Erica.
Middle name is M. Erica.
Yeah. The Great.
Well, we solved
The
that. I'm gonna move us on.
Thegrit.
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 It's spelt the Great, but it's pronounced Thegrit.
Thegrit.
Yeah.
It's Dutch. So, M. Erica Thegrit. Well, let's just move on because we're clearly moving on. So, end of round. Let's go into our third round, which is sounds. Ooh, how do you feel about those sounds?
We're getting there.
That was better.
That was
How do
on
I
the
f-
fly. So,
How do I feel about the sound? See, that's a very personal question. I like it. I feel like
Yeah.
That is
I feel
better.
engaged with.
How do you like the ooh? Was the ooh good?
It tickled me
Yes,
a
it
little
was.
bit.
Ooh. How do you feel
It's
about
like
the
you saw
sounds?
something that was controversial, and now you're asking someone about it.
For their hot take, yeah.
Yeah.
Good. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We want lots of hot takes on this pod.
Ooh.
So, Dan, in the form of an ooh, how did you feel about these?
Ooh, I had a lot of issues with the sound in Evil Dead 2.
Go on.
Go on. The creative choices that were being made for the sound design, I thought worked really well. I thought they were very fitting. I think that the production could have benefited from a more skilled audio mixer because everything felt like an individual like track pulled off of YouTube. It all and like some of the like screams and moans and like little one-liners from Ash that were ADR'd are like put in there when his mouth isn't moving at all.
Right.
It's the only thing in the movie that felt cheap in a way that I couldn't get past.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I found it so distracting. It felt like they recorded all their audio and then just like didn't process it at all and just kind of threw it on the film. If that makes any sense.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
So
That's fair. I do find it also silly, but I know what you're saying. Like, it is.
but like it can be silly, but like it has to still be good. Like it can look silly and look cheap, and like that's the point. But it still has to sound like a movie. Because if it
Yeah.
sounds cheap, then it feels cheap in a bad way. It doesn't feel like you were intentionally cheap. It just feels like it feels less professional.
Yeah, there's something about sound that does affect us differently. It's hard.
Totally.
You can't enjoy it. That kind of humor doesn't play as well.
Well, I mean, they always say in fucking filmmaking, they're like, you can shoot your movie on like an old brick phone and have it be like 640 resolution, look like absolute trash, as long as you have good audio. If you have good audio, then everything else is forgivable.
Yeah.
Because like the audio is what grounds you in the world, is what keeps you engaged with the film, with the universe of the movie. Anyways, I'm ranting.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like there's also a movie that I did have to ride the remote more, just because the screams come in. There's a lot of screaming and from Ash's. He doesn't even know who she is. Just the daughter of the doctor, or the whatever, who is an annoying character. I didn't care for her. She's
They all
dumb.
die.
Oh, dumb a lot. But
Spoilers.
yes, but I hear you.
I hear you on that. I loved all the choices they made for the like just the bubbling goopy sounds, even down to that. I think whoever was sourcing those sounds was doing a great job. It was probably Sam himself. And I'm comparing it this week to a film that has a soundtrack and it's orchestral and it's Danny Elfman, but all I could fucking hear is the Batman theme, because it's just Danny Elfman borrows from himself, just like Hans Zimmer borrows from himself, and Danny Elfman wrote the Batman theme in the late 80s, early 90s for all those Batman films. And the Spider-Man film is just, the theme is just that again, but like he inverts it. And then there's this horrible, stupid theme whenever the Sandman's there and they want to browbeat you with the fact that he's a bad guy. And the theme is just like, bum, 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 bum. Okay, yeah, we get it. He's a bad guy. But every time he appears, that tuba gets to bump.
And I gotta say, I also still loved, as much as there may have been technical issues, there were also choices in Evil Dead 2 with sound that really made me laugh and smile. Like just the sounds that the hand made once it was severed.
Yeah.
And he was trying to hit it, and the hand would be like, clearly was like mumbling, like muttering, like, oh, fuck you, like,
Yeah.
like, it was like almost saying words, like cussing at him, like, "Hey, you little shit, you gotta fucking hit me." Like, as he's trying to hit it and everything like that. Like that was a really funny choice that they didn't have to do. And someone was like, nah, like trust me, just like record. Like you shut up. And then just someone made that work. So I don't know. It is tricky. It's tricky. This is a trickier one. But I agree. Here's the thing. Like Danny Elfman borrows from himself. It's like, well, that's how he writes. Like that's his style.
All right,
the thing
but
is,
it's the same chords too, right? It's the same chord structure. We're setting up the same
yeah. But I always wonder with that, how much of that is just like producers being shitty, and they're like, "We hired you to write something like you did for Batman," and he's like, "Okay," and then he writes something, and they're like, "Even more like Batman."
Make it more.
And he's
Batman-y.
like, "Okay," and they're like, "It's really getting close, Danny. Awesome. Ooh, even closer." And then he just like sends them one that's like the same chords and sounds, just slightly different. And they're like, "That's perfect." And he's like,
just
"Well,
sends
I'll
them
take
the Batman cut they didn't use.
yeah, exactly." And he's like, "Well, whatever. Just pay me and leave me alone."
Yeah, because in the Tim Burton films, he has his style, and you can immediately recognize an Elfman score. But like in Tim Burton's films, he scores things that are unique. So I was really PO'd with this one.
It really is the same music, actually.
A
Da.
lot of sweeping strings that go diddly 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 diddly.
It's fun though. It's good.
Super, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But it's generic. It's
Want new.
yeah. But I do like I want like that's my struggle with this category is like Spider-Man is polished, but fucking bland.
Mhm.
Evil Dead is is underproduced, let's say, but like wholly original.
Yeah.
So I'm really torn, guys. It's a
What do they make you feel?
Yeah, you're favoring your polished turd, maybe over
I mean, maybe.
over your sloppy. But
Do you think
unique-
there's actually people that make a hobby of polishing turds?
Yes.
You think so? Like people
In
have
this
like
economy?
polished. Like if you polish a turd enough and like treat it enough, will it like solidify and no longer smell, and you can put it on like your mantle?
I think if you had a large enough shit pile, you could polish that thing down into a lump of coal, and then you could sell that lump of coal.
But if it could be a lump of coal, then can't you also compress it into a diamond?
Theoretically, it would be a very tiny diamond. I think you need a massive shit pile for a lump of coal for a teensy diamond.
How
But I
much
mean,
shit
it
are we
is
talking?
possible. If I start collecting my shit today,
Could Dan propose with a shit
could I
diamond?
could I propose the shit diamond?
It's a totally eco-sensitive diamond, babe. Came out my butt.
If there's anybody in the world who'd appreciate that, it's Marisa. So
Yeah.
I think we're onto something here.
All right.
Yeah. The process of compressing it down into coal and then into a diamond
Took so much fuel.
Yeah, it
so much fuel.
increased the global temperature by 25
Yeah.
0.20
Yeah,
0.25 degrees
that
Celsius.
sounds like a lot of work. I think I might just shit on her.
Whoa.
It's a diamond, babe. Anyways.
Will you make me the luckiest man?
I hope she listens to this. I know she
Oh,
doesn't.
we know she doesn't. That's good. But and that's me also. That scenario pretending as though Dan has difficult poops, and we all know that he doesn't.
I had a lot of white bread this week, guys, so it's been tough.
End of round. So
Yeah.
moving into our fourth official round, which is acting. Ooh, how'd the acting make you feel?
That's it. That's it.
I nailed it.
You found
We
it.
got
You
there,
found
bud.
You
Hey,
found
it was a quick journey. I take a note well.
That was good. Well, let me just start by saying I love everything Bruce Campbell.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that man can do no wrong.
essentially, yeah.
From fucking Evil Dead to Hercules. If you guys liked Evil Dead, you should also think about watching
Xena?
Ash
Hercules?
versus Evil Dead,
Oh, yeah.
which is the TV show
Yeah,
like spin-off of this, which is it also stars Bruce Campbell, but like fucking 40 years later.
it's
Yeah,
crazy.
he's like an
And he's
old
just like
Ash, right?
He's like an old, fat, pervy, drunk Ash. It's really funny.
Love it.
Yeah, it's really, and it's just as campy as this one. But like, yeah, it's great.
with some Lucy Lawless. Come
With
on,
some fucking Lucy Lawless. Like,
love her.
Who makes
Oh,
a cameo in Spider-Man 1? Says
Does
Spidey's
she?
hot. Yeah. They're
Oh.
doing like they're doing like interviews with people on the street, and it goes to her, and she's like, he's kind of hot, but with
Oh,
her
shit.
Australian accent. So
that would be
She's
post
Australian?
Hercules, right? She is
yeah,
Australian.
post Xena.
Post Cena. So Sam Raimi was just calling in all the favors.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I think Lucy Lawless is so stunning. Like
Yeah.
Xena was a formative show for me. That was a show that
Oh.
I watched when I was a kid, and I was like, I don't know much yet. I know that she is pretty.
Hell
And
yeah,
I-
dude.
I like her.
I've been thinking about going back and watching Xena like now.
I'm sure it'd be ridiculous.
Yo, yeah, I'm sure. Well, Sean, did you watch any Hercules or Xena to prep for the other podcast?
all the time, and Sinbad, and
No,
and then
I mean recently.
oh no, I didn't
Okay.
get around to that. Sadly,
You should watch some of the Spartacus show that Raimi also
Yeah.
produced.
super
And
good.
Lucy
He
Lawless.
produced Spartacus.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Oh shit! Okay.
and season
Damn,
1
you're
and 2 are worth watching. 3 and 4 are okay, but 1 and 2 are a fun thing. But she's on that, and she's still so great. She's such a good actor. She's like timelessly stunning. She's awesome. Big fan. Lucy, come on, Lucy Lawless.
I would love to have Lucy Lawless on. Just fucking like this strong, gorgeous woman, and
Yeah.
she's Australian.
She'd be like,
Which,
good
as
eye.
everyone, oh,
How you
wait, is
going?
she Australian or from New Zealand?
She's New Zealand.
She's yeah.
She met up with Colbert when he was there. That's how I know that.
Oh, what do you
Which
know?
is like an extra special.
She's on Battlestar
flavor.
Galactica. That's my That's my Lucy Lawless role, is as one of the Cylons.
All right,
I've
new
never
podcast
seen-
just about Lucy Lawless.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I've never
Lucy
seen...
Lawful. No,
It's called
no.
I Love Lucy.
Oof.
Hey, there it is. Okay.
That's
Yep.
the one, yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
Lawless. Her last name is Lawless. How cool is that?
It is. I wonder if it's really Lawless, though. Or if it's like a stage name.
Yeah.
Her name's actually M. Erica.
Aggressive.
Acting. Bruce Campbell. Great.
Great. All his physical acting, like his slapstick acting is brilliant.
Yeah.
He's so good. But he's also like, as much as it's campy and silly, he's also like playing the moment really well, where these things are like totally fucking mind-blowing to him and messing him up and like driving him insane. And he's freaking out and he's trying to get people to do things now because the demon is going to come and kill them. And like he's so good. This movie doesn't work without him, I think.
The movie is him, right?
Yeah.
Like it's true. I can't imagine somebody else in that role. Like it really is the perfect marriage of, because him and Sam Raimi are like best buds too. I think, right? Like they were like
they went to
friends.
college together, high school. I think even. Yeah.
So the chemistry there, and just like that working relationship, I don't think this movie could happen without Bruce Campbell in that role. No. And I agree. Yeah, everything. It's like he hits that fucking sweet spot of ridiculous but believable, which is really nice. And he's also in fucking Spider-Man 3.
He's like the best part of Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
He's the best part of Spider-Man 3.
That is the best scene. His little concierge role
in the background, just calling in and clapping back. It's unfortunate it doesn't have the payoff that you wanted to. They don't really know how to finish it, which is unfortunate. But he's so good as this French man.
Yeah.
Yeah. But otherwise, in Evil Dead, there isn't really any acting to talk about.
Nope.
I mean, I guess his brother as the old woman was good. I bought it. She was good.
Yeah. She's
good
spooky.
preview.
Yeah.
Super spoopy.
There's it's kind of Bruce Campbell and then people like playing zombies. So it's
Or hillbillies.
Or fucking hillbillies.
Yeah.
Or like a posh young man who's like, we'll get to the cabin. Don't worry, dear. We'll find our way. And then he's murdered real fast.
Who also looks a whole heck of a lot like Will Forte's MacGruber
Oh,
on
fuck.
the landing strip.
Yep, you're right. There it is. I was wondering. There it is. Yep.
Anyways.
So he's amazing, and he's amazing in Spider-Man 3.
Yes.
I think Tobey Maguire is doing a good job in
I
Spider-Man
like
3.
Tobey Maguire, and I think
Tobey
you
Maguire.
are correct. He's my Peter Parker.
Yep.
I'm just saying it.
And he's
I mean,
trying
first
to
of all-
do the movie that's being made. Like he
Yes.
is up for it. He's committing to it. I think we knew at this point that Kristen Dunst was she didn't like this script and she didn't want to be in this movie.
No, because it's
Oh,
the
is that
third
true?
movie in a row where she gets like abducted into a high tower and Spider-Man has to save her.
Yeah, and I think she just also was like, this is a weird movie.
Yeah.
So she's phoning it in kind of, but it's still fine. But Tobey Maguire is like trying to make the movie. He's going full out, being a weirdo, going into a long, dark descent of the soul or whatever with a dance.
It's just, first of all, Tom Holland forever. Second of all,
Meh.
What?
Toby.
He's fine.
He's
fine.
He is hands down the best iteration of Peter Parker. There's
fine.
no question.
Oh,
There's no
that's-
question.
He's the best
No.
Spider-Man.
Right next to Andrew Garfield. I'm kidding. He was the worst. He sucked. Yeah, he sucked.
I liked him
But
too. I like them all, but
What?
No,
he's
Andrew Garfield is like
Andrew Garfield
a different.
is a terrible Spider-Man.
I like
He's a
those
different
films.
universe. He's a different universe Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's
he's
the
not
amazing,
Peter Parker. He's the fucking cool,
Hot
like,
fucking skateboard model.
fucking Peter
Who's
Parker.
I'm
like-
fine with it. I enjoy it.
He's like, hey, Mary Jane. I just
No,
like,
you know,
girl, I've been
Gwen,
thinking about
Gwen
you.
Stacy in the
Gwen
those
Stacy.
movies.
What I like about those films is the hot chemistry between him and Emma Stone, and
Okay,
it's
yes,
all
yes.
hot. So
It's red hot. Yes.
yeah,
We agree. It's
Yes.
very much red hot.
It's very hot. It is spicy to the touch.
So anyway, Tobey Maguire, definitive Spider-Man. We all agree. So yeah,
Tobey Maguire, I wholeheartedly agree with the first statement you made that he is definitely acting his ass off to play the part for the movie that's being made. I don't think he as a person fits in the role that was written for this movie. Everything he does seems like it just feels weird and awkward and like not in the nerdy Peter Parker character way, in like the Tobey Maguire has like an awkward face way.
It's fair.
His mouth kind of moves funny when he talks, and
There are so many poop faces in Spider-Man 2.
So
Whoa.
many fucking he is the ugliest crier I've ever seen.
It's an ugly cry, man. Yeah.
yeah, you're right.
He's my Peter Parker.
I know. Yeah, he is. I know what you're saying though, Dan. Like he fits so well with the other movies where he's just the struggling geeky guy who gets superpowers. When he has to have the dark turn, it's weird. That's why it would be a better movie if he was turning into a spider, and he was all like, "Oh, geez, like it's me going through puberty all over again."
Sam Raimi's doing the next Doctor Strange, so we'll probably get some freaky dream spider shit or something.
Yeah,
Is he doing Doctor Strange?
Is
That's
there?
the multiverse, right?
Yeah, I
Something
guess.
like that, yeah.
Start of
See,
it.
again, based on what happened in this movie, I don't trust him with a big budget CGI loaded film.
Yeah, but Marvel, the Disney Marvels seem to give the director a bit more leeway.
Like they bring them on because they want them to do something.
They want their vision. They want
Sure.
Yeah.
And like vision he does have, but I feel like in his version everything is done with puppets, which
Yeah.
I don't think really fits Doctor Strange. I want to
Yeah.
see Edgar Wright do Doctor Strange.
Well, we almost had Edgar Wright's Ant-Man.
Well, Ant-Man.
Okay, so and to destroy my point, this Disney interfered with his directorial process and he dropped it like a fucking hot rock. So
on Ant-Man, which is so weird.
Ant-Man,
Like
yeah.
what they were like, Disney was like, no, Ant-Man is the one that turns the tide, and we crush DC once and for all.
Yeah. There is only one man alive in history now or in the future who could ever possibly pull off the role of J. Jonah Jameson, and that is J.K. Simmons.
That's J.K. Simmons.
And
Yes,
He's
agreed.
He's awesome, and he's to the point that he's reprising that role, isn't he?
yeah, they in the new ones in the like the end
In the multiverse?
scene. Yeah, he's like an Alex Jones type reporter, but he's still J. Jonah Jameson. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I love that.
So that's awesome. He's amazing. I mean, I gotta say, Topher isn't bad.
It's fine.
He's annoying.
He does the bad
He's
role
not
that's written for him.
He's not Brock. He's not Brock.
No, he's
It's
not.
the worst casting ever.
Yeah,
Ever.
yeah.
It's and you're right. Topher Grace, he for someone who played like the dorky nerd for 15 years or whatever, he is a surprisingly good fucking slime ball.
Have you seen him in Black Klansman?
I haven't, but I can't imagine.
He's great.
Check it
yeah.
out. It's
He's
so
great.
good.
Yeah, I think he's great. I loved I loved the chemistry between Elizabeth Banks and J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
The little back and forth
Yeah.
over his medication with the fucking vibrating table
Yeah.
was so solid.
Yeah, more of that
I
would
also
have been just
good. Love Elizabeth Banks.
Elizabeth Banks,
To me, she can
Bryce
do no
Dallas-
wrong
Bryce
unless
Dallas
she's
Howard.
in Power Rangers.
Yeah, Bryce Dallas Howard.
First time making a early appearance as a blonde. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize Gwen Stacy was in this movie at all.
me
Yeah, I
neither.
kinda
I
forgot.
forgot about that. Totally.
Yeah.
Who
Which means-
is she in the comics? Does she come before Mary Jane?
She's
Is that
before-
an alternate timeline?
No, she's before. Like, I think he crushes on Mary Jane, but then he gets with Gwen Stacy, and Gwen Stacy dies, and that storyline is what propels him to become like Uber Spider-Man or whatever, and then he gets with MJ.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So they just completely fucked that in the movie then.
Yeah, but we got in the Andrew Garfield ones. That's where they start.
Just
That's
Gwen
right.
Stacy.
Yup.
So
Yeah, they were hot in those movies, weren't they?
So hot.
speaking of hot, we got the Sandman. Sandman is
So
Again,
hot.
I like the Sandman. I thought that actor. I liked that actor. I thought they did a good job.
Yep.
I thought his wife was a fucking dumpster fire. That scene
That one
was
scene.
awful.
Yeah,
Oh
it's a bad
god.
scene though.
Yeah.
Also, was his daughter sleeping with like a sleep apnea?
She's
like,
sick.
No, but shut up.
She needs
So-
oxygen.
But only when she's asleep? Because she had it in her nose when she was sleeping, then she comes out and doesn't have the breathing tube anymore.
Yeah,
but she has
look.
crutches.
Need it.
But she has crutches.
Well,
Yeah,
they can't
she's
afford
sick.
oxygen all the time because they don't have the money, which is why he's a criminal.
Yeah.
Understood.
She's sick.
Sick.
So sad.
So sick. Oh, my daughter's sick.
I wish that was a conversation.
It's like, oh wow, I'm like Sandman now. Yeah, this is great because my daughter's sick, so I can get some money.
California surfer dude. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Who else is in this demo? What are the other villains? There's Sandman. There's Venom.
James Franco.
James Franco.
James
Who
Franco.
had like some moments in this
I thought
movie.
I thought he was funny when he just got knocked on the head, and he's like, he's just like giddy dumb, and he's like they say this about me. Yeah, I guess that's right.
Yeah,
I got a bonk on the head. And you're like, this is a good James Franco role.
it is. It worked well for him. That whole storyline seemed silly to me though, because I thought he was supposed to be superhuman at that point, but he just takes one fall and he like almost dies.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Pipe to the head, amnesia, explosion to the face, alive.
Yeah, also
But
bump to
scarred.
the head, amnesia that destroys his short-term memory, but he also can't, he says many times he can't remember who he is and forgets like pretty major story, like backstory points from like years ago.
Yeah. But then he's super charming in that restaurant just before he reveals to Peter that he knows who he is.
Okay,
Wait,
so
that
let's
wasn't bad.
talk about that scene for a second.
Right.
So he has what seems to be just a bunch of dead nerves in his eyelid in that scene.
Yes, he does.
Okay, so
For a lot of the movie.
is that an acting choice? Is that a this is my evil version of James Franco face, or does he just have a fucking dead eye?
I think he was high as fuck.
It reads when, again, one of the best line readings in any superhero movie is at the end of that scene when the waitress is like, how's the pie?
So good.
So delicious. Does he say so
Yeah.
good?
Yeah, it just
So
smiles
good.
so
Yeah.
good.
So
Like smacks his
good.
lip. He's high as fuck.
He's high as fuck.
He got paid him like $6 million to go to work high.
That's sick.
Yeah. It is sick.
That's
Oh,
sick.
my daughter's sick and that is sick.
Sick.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people acting in this movie, but he's generally sometimes funny, but mostly bad too.
Yeah, he's like both good and shit. He's like charming but hard to watch.
Hmm.
He's got a nice smile. I like James Franco's smile, which I think has gotten him through most of his career.
Yeah.
Those moments when he can turn into the nice guy,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
sweet
yeah,
boy next door. Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's rough that Kirsten Dunst had to play an actor who gets fired for being too bad in a movie that she's acting in. That's rough.
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. I was kind of lamenting an Aunt May that wasn't a hot Marissa Tomei.
Oh, but she was so good though.
She
But
was
she's
really
so
good.
She's so good.
Yeah.
She's so
Scenes were
good.
really good.
Yeah, she grounds the film, I think.
Yeah.
I just wish that she was like 40 years younger and hotter. I'm just kidding. I don't.
There's a lot of decent performances in this movie. And then there's like one.
I wouldn't say like a lot.
There's a number of decent performances.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, everyone's like everyone's acting well with terrible writing, so it doesn't seem good, even though they be good.
And it's like put together weird, but like
Like the writing is atrocious in this fucking film.
yeah, it's
Like atrocious. Like
quite bad.
It seems like it was written by somebody who has never actually had a real relationship of any kind with another human being. Like everything, all like the friendly bonding stuff between Tobey Maguire and James Franco is fucking weird. All the scenes, like where they're like passing the basketball back and forth in the hallway, and just like
when we were kids.
giggling with each other.
It's not that bad.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad.
It's just like you and me, Dan, back when we used to play hoops back in the day.
Back when you twos used to play hoops?
Yeah. Remember? And you were always the one that was, we went to, because we thought we'd meet the cheerleaders. Huh? I was sick. I'm just a New York boy from California. End of round. So it's over. Okay.
Great.
So we're gonna go into our bonus round, bonus lightning round, which is likes and gripes. Likes and gripes. Fucking pew, pew, pew. And we are going to get our 2 minutes on the timer. How this works is about 2 minutes to voice any likes and gripes. I think I wrote down a bunch. So if you don't have any, just pass. I'll just say
Right on.
more.
Great.
You just want to do this on your own then, Jack?
No, I don't.
Okay.
And we just say any likes or gripes that we had about these movies. Okay, Sean, Dan, Jack, yeah,
Right on.
starting.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 In 3, 2, 1, go.
Like placing a farewell to arms on your hand trapping basket.
Gripe. Punching dogs.
Oh my God. Gripe. The line. It's me, your friendly neighborhood. You know.
Gripe. Too many villains.
Gripe. Peter Parker's stupid bike.
Like the reverse smoke shots.
Like Bruce Campbell's eyebrows.
Gripe. Or like French Bruce Campbell.
Like the mirror shot where Bruce Campbell jumps out at himself. So
Like
good.
chainsaw arm.
Gripe. A pile of loose paper staying together being thrown up the stairs.
Okay. I don't know what that
Come
is.
back to it after.
Okay. Gripe, similarly, I guess. Spitballs in university. Come on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gripe parade kisses.
Gripe. The world's fastest sunset.
Gripe, convenient truck of sand parked in downtown Manhattan.
Yeah.
Like how well positioned the mud on his face is.
Like that little kid protesting the Gwen Stacy kiss.
Yeah. Likey Gripe, one of my favorites, claps for the hero while standing in front of the American flag. Ooh, bonus claps for the hero.
Like the entire room turning and laughing at Ash.
Like Assistant MacGruber.
Like groovy.
Like particle physics testing sign.
Like Ursula.
Oh. Like the yell at the broken bridge.
Like the med scene. There we are.
The med scene?
Yeah, the one you talked about where he's got to take his medication and he keeps getting
Oh, right.
buzzed.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wait,
so
what? And he keeps and he keeps what?
Getting buzzed.
Oh,
Elizabeth Banks
the
keeps
vibrator
buzzing
table,
him.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
I was like, what does that mean? Okay. Yeah.
the loose paper thing. So the pages from the Book of the Dead, they're
Yeah.
loose. They've been
Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
Bruce Campbell has him in the basement and he throws just a stack of loose paper up to the woman and they just like land like a anyways.
But they're
so
they're
dumb.
wet.
They're very wet. Covered in
fuck
blood
off.
and mud.
They're
Goop.
so wet.
So what?
Those
My daughter's suck.
the papers are so wet. It's
They're so
sad.
suck.
Wow. So let's rate these movies. So
Okay.
getting into our first category, story.
Evil Dead. Evil Dead dead.
Yeah, I mean it has to go with Evil Dead because I will take a simple, minimal story over 14 stories.
Correct. Having too many stories is probably one of the worst things you can do with a script.
Yeah.
Correct.
So many fucking stories.
That's bad. Because I think there are parts of this Like I think, Dan, like why I reflect on it, like that you were talking about the basketball moment of them being friends. Like I don't think I think it's kind of fine. I think there are a lot of parts in this that are actually good, but they're so intertwined with other stories, some of which they take turns dropping the ball, that it all starts to kind of pull each other down. As a
maybe.
I really think if you just watched like one storyline in this, like on its own, you'd be like, oh, that's not bad. Like the Sandman storyline just on its own is like, that's a standard comic book villain kind of thing. Cool. But when it's mixed with everything else, it's like, what? Oh, so Evil Dead 2 is my vote as well.
Yeah, girl.
What about Looky Looks? I'm Evil Dead for this one for sure.
Yeah, it's fucking Evil Dead.
Come on.
I'm so happy that you guys enjoyed this film. Also
great
Evil
time.
Dead.
I mean, it's compared to Spider-Man 3, but we did love it. Yeah. So is it Evil Dead for you? Okay.
Yeah, Evil Dead for me. Yeah, I started with that. Yeah.
And Daniel. Okay.
Sounds.
Keep making that sound. Can't hear it. There it is.
I think I'm gonna have to go with. I think I'm gonna have to go Spider-Man 3. I was really put off by the sound quality of Evil Dead 2.
Right. Polish that turd. I'm going with the originality of Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. It's great podcast fodder.
Look, you know.
Stop putting pressure on us, Sean.
Yeah, geez, let me be myself.
I'm sorry, audience.
My daughter
is listening
is
to
sick. Okay. I think I'm a bit persuaded by Dan's arguments.
Oh shit!
It's a bit of a toss up for me, and I can go. Oh, some of those moments were really fun, but it was kind of just a couple moments, and in the end, I am gonna give it, I think, to the polished turd. I don't think it's a turd. It's a perfectly satisfactory artificial gemstone.
Right on. Well, 2-1.
Yeah, here we come.
Acting.
Spider-Man 3.
You think so, eh?
I do indeed. And there's just more. There's more.
Yeah.
There's J. Jonah. Like I laugh at Ash, and I love Ash, and Bruce Campbell does a great job, but he single-handedly carries that movie. There's more variety in Spider-Man 3, and fucking J.K. Simmons is the best. So
yeah. I'm gonna make this easier on you, Dan, and say I'm inclined to say the same. Spider-Man 3. I think I want to give like the biggest shout out possible to Bruce Campbell. He is so good.
He's part of why Spider-Man 3 wins it, because that scene is impeccable.
That's true.
He also gives us points to Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
It's just everything else in that movie is like, not really good acting, and not, whatever. It's serving its own purpose, right? Which is not necessarily to be good acting, whatever. But that doesn't mean you're going to give it an acting point for our context, at least for me. Whereas, as we talked about, Spider-Man 3, it has a lot of people doing decent stuff. They're trying to lift up that movie. That movie would be garbage if it wasn't for some at least decent performances by people.
Yep. Daniel.
Yeah, all right. I want to give my vote to Ash versus Evil Dead.
All right, sure. I mean, it doesn't matter. So I'll allow it. Okay. 1 point goes to Ash versus Evil Dead.
Wow,
you got that, Sean?
Yeah, I'll write that down. Ooh, writing sounds. All right.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks. And then so we got a 2-2er.
Tie game.
We got a tutor. We got a tutor happening.
We got a tutor here.
Tutor.
So final kind of bonus category matters, which is rewatchability. However, I'm saying Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, it has to be Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
I could not sit through another 2.5 hours of Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. We've
I've
already
seen Evil
pissed,
Dead 2 quite a few times. What?
we've already pissed off the like Sam Raimi fans by having it tied at this point, anyways. So it's got to be Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, I guess the diehard Sam Raimi fans are like, how dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you?
I fucking love Sam Raimi. How do you say that about him?
He's sick.
I'm the prototypical Sam Raimi fan. Oh my god! Just what he did on a minimal budget, like, changed the game.
He's
It was
sick.
sick. Sick.
Suck.
Entire podcast is still like in this voice now.
Oh god. Yeah, no, that's an easy one though. I mean, Evil Dead 2 is that's a watchable movie no matter what time of day or year.
I'm like really looking forward to watching Into Darkness or whatever the last one's called.
Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness.
Into
It's a fun
Darkness,
movie.
yeah.
I'd also suggest if like we want to do a trilogy day, like starting from the beginning, because Evil Dead, while definitely not as produced as Evil Dead 2 is really well done. It's a really good film.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
There you have it. A full that's a CKVS recommendation.
You watch that whole trilogy, you do it.
You write that down. That doesn't come very often. You get that's the patented CKVS rec.
Stamp of approval.
Yeah.
So that means with a score of 32, the Citizen Kane of the week is
Groovy.
Evil Dead 2. Sean's doing a stump clap.
Oh,
Yeah.
I get it.
Because he loses
I got
his
it.
hand.
So congratulations, Evil Dead 2. I think from the beginning we all knew that you would do it. So yay. So this takes us into our pitched movies for next week, coming
For next week.
from Senior Jacqueline.
C'est moi, c'est les films. So this week, they're both bad films, so I apologize in advance.
No,
Oh,
I
no.
wanted one of these. I wanted to bring back both.
They're both bad.
films
They
are bad.
both
weeky
have
and-
below 4 on IMDb, I believe.
Oh, are they long too?
No, they're quite short.
Wait, below 4?
Yes.
Oh, right, because it's out of 10.
Yeah, they
On
do.
IMDb?
I thought
Yeah.
it was out of 100, like Rotten Tomatoes, like percentage.
No.
And I was like,
No.
what?
It's below 4 out of 10 on IMDb.
How do you do that?
But IMDb scores are normally like significantly higher than Rotten Tomatoes scores, so I have
Right.
to imagine that if they're 4, they're
These are
real bad.
Train wrecks of films, but one is undoubtedly a classic and one is undoubtedly going to be schlock, and I'm mostly suggesting the schlock one because I want to shit on the people who made it with my friends.
Okay.
So
Okay.
In
the
France?
classic with my friends, but we
With
could
your
go to
friends.
France. We like
I'd love
province
to.
is opening up on Friday.
oh, so are we not on the next episode?
Oh, get it? Get it? Because we're not your friends, you
I'm
bitch.
sick. So the classic, the 1936 feature film for the time, I guess, coming in. No, you do that next week. Is Reefer Madness, the original black and white.
Okay.
Reefer
Oh my
Madness.
god, I've never
you-
seen that.
Oh
I've
man,
never seen
I've only seen clips from it, and it looks bonkers.
Yeah, and
Okay.
the
Wait,
An
another
hour long, right?
yeah, it's like an hour 6, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
And what are you gonna pair this with?
and well,
Oh,
the,
How
the
high?
connecting.
Pineapple Express.
No, the connecting is the word madness, and it is a film that was written, directed, and starring Louise Linton, who is the wife of former Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin.
Oh
who
my
has
God,
the
it's
most
this one.
punchable face in the world. The film
Get outta here.
is called Me, You, Madness. And it also, like, the male lead is like one of those horrible Me Too douchebags as well. So,
Yeah, like rapist who worked on Gossip Girl.
right, yeah. Big
Oh my-
old steaming sack of crap.
Oh my God.
Reefer
Madness and Me, You, Madness.
I can't believe you got
Me,
me,
You
you madness on the podcast.
Yeah, man.
Oh, my
What?
poor eyes.
What year
4
is Me
years.
You Madness made?
This year, sir.
What? Oh,
It
is
came out
like
the same
2.5
year as that.
hours long?
The same year as the KFC
No.
movie.
Oh, why haven't we done the KFC movie yet?
Apparently, it's only like 20 minutes long or
yeah,
something.
it's a,
It
it's,
is.
it-
It is.
it's not 2.5
It's
hours
still-
long. It is an hour 38.
The KFC movie?
No, Me You
No,
Madness.
that's
Oh,
a
okay.
short film.
Yeah. Okay. With Mario
It's
Lopez.
like a long
as-
commercial.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have
You
fun.
Oh, this already looks like a documentary kind of.
Yeah, it's not shot well.
I'm excited.
A young thief cases an architectural dream house in Malibu, not realizing it is the home of an eccentric female serial killer.
Correct.
All right, yeah, I'm in. That sounds so bad.
Starring Steve Mnuchin's like trophy wife, right?
Yeah,
Louise Linton. Okay,
Oh,
cool.
boy.
That'll be fun.
he probably
Also-
funded it.
Also, before we go, what happened with Franco again? He was just like
I looked it up briefly, and it looks
approaching
like
young girls, right? Like he was.
it looks like his acting school. They hired some students. This is what the legal documents said. They hired some students to do a rather scantily clad photo shoot at a strip club. There may allegedly there was some sexual misconduct that went on there. The criminal case was thrown out, but the civil case was settled for some moolah.
Ooh, that's
So he
telling.
had younger people come on to do some scantily clad thing, and then
He had his students,
was
like
There's also been-
acting students, like 20-year-olds. Yeah, like late teen 20-year-old people. Yeah.
There was also a thing recently with one of his one of the chicks who worked on The Disaster Artist came out about his like sexual misconduct and how she was like she voiced a concern about working with him because he was being so inappropriate and had like the history of being sexually predatory, and she was coerced into doing all of her scenes. Because there's been a lot of allegations of him just like sexually assaulting women. And
It sounds like he abuses his position pretty regularly.
100%. And then when she tried to like voice her concerns, Seth Rogen and James Franco were both like, "Oh, that's such a last year thing. He doesn't do that anymore." Meanwhile, he was accused like a week prior by a handful of women.
Right.
So now Seth Rogen has come out publicly and been like, "I'm
I'm
denouncing
out.
James Franco, and don't plan to work with him anytime in the future."
whoa.
No more Pineapple Express 2, though?
Yeah.
We're not
So
going to get what's the one where they go to North Korea?
Oh, the interview.
The interview.
The interview. What a dumb movie.
I watched that movie, and it is amazing.
Yeah.
Great. I
No.
can't wait for you to pitch Frost Nixon versus the interview.
But yeah, so hashtag don't fuck James Franco.
No.
No.
But hashtag come on, Carrie.
Hashtag
Hashtag
come on, Carrie.
Carrie.
Hashtag come on, Lucy. I don't want to make it sound
Yeah, let's not do that
graphic.
one for her. Yeah. How about we
Yeah.
respect
Hashtag-
you and really want to talk about your work?
Hashtag Lucy Lawless. We'd love to have you on the show.
Yeah.
Hashtag Lucianus. Like,
How about hashtag let's let Lucy?
We love Lucy. How's that?
hashtag we love Lucy.
We love Lucy.
All right.
That's a better one.
There it is.
Lucy on us.
And
Wicked
stop listening.
South Park.